A win streak for the Montreal Canadiens? Hello, 2022. A leaf has turned. I don't know what to say. We are the No Respect Podcast. Join alongside me, Justin, Alex, myself, Mackie. Guys, this is new to us, right? The Habs win 3 in a row after demolishing the Maple Leafs last night 5-2. And today we're going to be talking about Marty St Louis. Is this guy the real deal? Again, a huge thank you to everybody that's been subscribing, liking. If you like Habs content, you've come to the right place. But let's start there, guys. Marty St Louis this week. What do you do here? Alex, start with you.
I mean, it's been great. The best moments as a Habs fan this year. Last night was the first night. Well, you guys were at the game, but I was watching on my couch, and that Caufield one-timer, I actually jumped out of my seat. And I can't say that's happened since last playoffs. So it's been a great week, especially a huge win against the Leafs. And yeah, it's just been fun to watch. There's actually some joy around the team, around the fans. Twitter is loving it. It's always nice to get a win over the Leafs, that rivalry. And it's nice to actually put up a fight against them and have something to trash talk them about again. So yeah, it's been good, fun week, and let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, I shout out to Steve Dangle, who was in shambles this morning. Great video. But what do you think, Justin, about Marty St Louis short king with Cole Caufield short king here?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's something positive finally to talk about, because it's just been negativity, questions, players, are they leaving, are they staying? So I mean, it's just great, and it's great to win against the Leafs. I know that stung for a lot of Leafs fans. We had some right in the row in front of us that were pretty salty. But yeah, I mean, Marty St. Louis, 3 wins in a row, something Dom Ducharme couldn't do this whole season, and it's great right now. I'm happy to be a Habs fan right now, at least.
Yeah, no, there's been some definite juice going on since Marty's arrival. Some energy, some life within the Montreal Canadiens, and that's 3 wins in a row, like we said. So things are on the up and up. Is the rebuild over? Is the rebuild even necessary? I'm joking. It probably is. But want to shout out Born Into This, who commented on our last video, and we asked, what do you think about Marty so far? And he says Marty knows how to play the game better than most. Looking forward to his tenure. Hockey will be fun again for both the players and fans. Hopefully enough to keep Petrie here. And speaking of which, I know the next slide here is Brett Kulak, but we wanted to get into players that obviously have elevated their game noticeably since Marty's arrival. I wanted to start. I asked to add Brett Kulak to the table here. Now, if you want to roast me, yeah, it's beautiful. Brett Kulak, I find, ever since the arrival, has been much more active, and I just feel like more engaged in the play. So I don't know if you guys have noticed this too in Brett Kulak's play specifically, or if this is a little bit of just me looking at Brett Kulak and saying, I like what you got.
I mean, he was definitely buzzing last night in the Toronto game. Like, seeing him up close, he was fast. He was like jumping on pucks, like going the offensive zone. It was like the best case scenario Brett Kulak, which we don't always see. He's kind of been inconsistent. But yeah, I mean, small sample size, but he's been better.
Yeah. But let's get into the big guns here. I want to start off with not Cole Caufield, that'll be last, but Jeff Petrie. Ever since Marty's arrival, because Jeff Petrie before with under Ducharme, I think stopped playing hockey for the past 33 losses that we've had, and maybe a couple of the wins too. And it's been night and day difference. We're seeing a Petrie that we saw that was extremely useful and important to this team. Alex, what do you see as the biggest difference between Jeff Petrie, apart from just saying he's playing hockey?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was one of the most outspoken when it came to post-game interviews and stuff, to be the closest, I guess, coming to shitting on Dom Ducharme's system and coaching. Some of those post-game interviews are a bit questionable. But yeah, like you said, he's stepped up big time this past week. The cynical person in me would say that maybe he wants to up his trade value to get a move out of Montreal. But being realistic, I think it's that new coach bounce. And we know Jeff Petrie is a great player. He's shown it the past few years. And once you start having fun again, it just starts clicking again, I think. And he's stepped up big time. You've seen him celebrating other players' goals from the bench, not just looking depressed all night. He's stepping up, a bit more physical again, and that offense is coming back. I think it's points in 4 straight games now. So it's just great to see. He's been important in this win streak. And hey, if Petrie finds joy again and wants to stay here, wants to play, he's a great player to have to help these young kids develop in the next few years.
And on that point, Justin, do you think he does want to stay?
It's a tough question.
It's a tough one, I know.
Yeah. I mean, something in me thinks he wants to play in the United States. He's an American, and I think his whole family is in the States actually right now. So that's part of it. I think he loves Montreal. I think he loves to play in Montreal. I also think part of this season he was just lobbying to get Ducharme fired almost because he was just playing so badly. And I think all of us knew that he couldn't have fallen off a cliff so hard like at the beginning of the season, because he's a great defenseman, great hockey player. And yeah, this is what we expect from Jeff Petrie, what we've seen in the last 3 games, not what we saw in the first 45.
No, that was awful. But yeah, lastly, let's get into Cole Caufield, because I know that Jeff Petrie has been doing well, but there's no one that is hotter than Cole Caufield right now. What is it? I think he climbed the ranks from like 60th in rookie scoring to 14th. I saw it on Reddit. I can't find it right now, but it's ridiculous. This kid, ever since Marty St Louis came in with his massive quads and just started speaking to the team and injecting energy, and a guy that Cole Caufield has outwardly said that he was the reason why I wore 26 when I grew up. Like, to have this guy behind the bench, and also the things that he's been saying is that he trusts his game. What are you seeing from this kid that you haven't seen before, Alex?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to apologize if you can hear my cat in the back. But the main thing I've seen with Cole Caufield is just confidence. We saw it in the playoffs last year. He wasn't scared to try things. He wasn't scared to shoot. And I feel like at the start of this year, as much as people, and I do kind of agree, will say that Ducharme playing him on the 4th line, very low minutes, doesn't help. I don't think he was too hampered by just the system, but he just looked low on confidence. His pass receptions were awful. He was fumbling the puck right when he was going to shoot. And I think somehow Marty St Louis coming in has been able to flip that switch and just let him try things and build that confidence back up. Goals in 4 or 5 of the 6 games since St. Louis has been coaching, assists, great passes to Anderson for easy goals. So yeah, he's just not afraid to try things. And in the first period, I think there could have been 3 penalties drawn on him when he tried to step around guys. There was one that was finally called, but that's something we haven't seen from him until recently. He's not just a shooter. He has that playmaking, that intelligence, and he has to have the belief from the coach to let him try these things. And this past couple of weeks, he's been allowed to do so, and it's worked out well for the team.
Yeah, high minutes for this kid, and also reunited with Nick Suzuki, which worked extremely well, and I think that's a big factor in staying patient with that. Justin, crystal ball me this one. Is this it for Cole Caufield? Was that the struggle? Do you think that he's going to continue on this pace, or do you need more evidence before you can lock it in?
I think he's definitely winning the Calder this year. Like, it's a lock at this point.
Oh, baby.
No, I'm kidding, but I think like there was kind of an expectation that Cole Caufield would like continue from where he left off in the playoffs last year, and it didn't quite happen at the beginning of the season. I think like, you can blame Ducharme all you want, but I think even Cole Caufield would agree that he wasn't playing his best at the beginning of the season. He was gripping his stick too tight. He couldn't score. He seemed like he was bobbling the puck a lot. And the way I think Martin St. Louis helped him is he's just given him the opportunity where he can succeed, which is like on the first line, on the first power play, where he's meant to be played. If you're burying him on the 4th line and expecting him to bounce back, it's not going to happen. So just giving him the opportunity to kind of get his confidence back in a spot where he can succeed is the way that he's going to thrive and come back from slumps. If you're just burying him, he's never going to come back from a slump. So I don't think he's going to continue on this pace forever. He's not going to score. He's not going to be a goal per game player in this league. I mean, maybe, but yeah, I think just keeping him in a position to succeed is going to keep him from kind of going downhill. He's going to keep going up. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a terrible analogy at the end there, but thanks for helping me.
No, no problem. That's a great crystal ball you got there. Well, that's it. Okay, so we talked about everybody that's kind of elevating. We only selected 3 players. Do you guys have a player in mind that we missed here that has been noticeably different? Mine was Brett Kulak. Obviously, there's Jeff Petrie. There's Cole Caufield. Let us know down below. But let's move in to the difference between Marty St. Louis and Dominique Ducharme. So this was something that we saw on Reddit. I want to highlight the user who kind of started this conversation. We found it interesting, and it's just to explain the real difference between the change in Dom Ducharme to Marty St. Louis. The Reddit user's name is Hold an Unpopular Opinion. We shall see if we do. So the first comment that we want to highlight comes from Dan 094. So what he writes, or they write, I should say, Dom was about puck support, making sure players are close to each other. Short passes, and he had personalized routes for each player. He would teach customized version of zone defense. Couldn't tell you what it is, considering the players couldn't either. Lol. MSL, Marty St. Louis, likes to use the whole length and width of the ice. Players spread apart, more speed. He plays swarm defense rather than zone defense. He has less structure for offense, but expects them to make the best read. The added edit here is I think Dom's system was more advanced, but too complicated for the team to execute. Wrong system for the type of roster we had. I think his system on paper is better, but the game isn't played on paper, unfortunately. The Leafs know that, baby. MSL system is designed for a rebuilding team to get the most offense out of players at the expense of cheating on D in certain situations. All right. I don't know what you guys think about this. I thought it was pretty interesting. There were some things that I definitely align with. I just don't know if there was... Well, let me just get your thoughts first. Alex, what do you think about this? Is it really a question of systems difference, or do you pin it more on the coach just being a little bit more of a leader?
It's hard for me to say because, in all honesty, I can't give you an accurate take on Ducharme's system because in the playoffs, I wasn't really paying attention to systems. So I was just supporting the hype moments of this team. Yeah, basically. I wasn't analyzing these games. It was very emotional. And then after our 7 losses to start the season, I kind of checked out. So I don't want to be too harsh on Dominique Ducharme's system. Obviously, it wasn't working this year. Something had to change. I do have not necessarily a better take on St. Louis' system, but like you mentioned, just that leadership factor, that presence in the locker room, it may be a new coach bounce, but I think it's accurate to say that the players definitely feel more free and able to try things out. And I can see that this analysis of the cheating on D to develop our offense, which our offense is what needs developing right now. We don't have high-end defensive prospects, so we have to develop these young offensive talents to help the future of this team. And if the sacrifice is cheating on D, leaving these goalies out to dry, well, maybe it's worth it in the short term to benefit the long term of this team. So yeah, shouts out to Dan094. If his analysis is accurate, someone should hire him because this is very in-depth. I don't want to be the deciding factor as to if this is accurate or not, particularly for Dom Ducharme's system. But I think his take about St. Louis is very accurate from the 6 games I've seen so far.
Yeah, before Justin, because there's another thread that's a little bit lower from Tado's user on Reddit. I'm not going to go through everything because it's also very much in depth, but it got a silver, so it's garnering some attention. Some, what is it, like 54 upvotes for this fella, 44 upvotes for this fella. He does talk about a little bit of the similarities in what the initial post that we just read was about, but he also talks about Marty St. Louis' approach, and he cites this coming from The Athletic. Want to make sure I'm doing all the proper shout outs, so if I missed anyone, I apologize. But developing hockey IQ, is like one of the pillars of Marty St. Louis' approach, according to The Athletic. Practice and mud. What he was describing as mud is not doing things that are like, a 3-on-2 going down the ice where everything is clear. It's like, put yourself in a game situation where it's not going to be clear. There's going to be I don't know who's going to be. I don't know why I'm thinking of Ryan Reeves, but if Ryan Reeves is in front of you for some reason, it's different when he's actively pursuing you and you're just going up against, I don't know, Jeff Petrie that's kind of like, has regular eyes and not red eyes. I just think there's a difference between an in-game situation, and I think that's what Marty St. Louis is trying to accomplish. Playing without the puck, obviously 80% of the game, at least that's the stat that's stated here, is played without the puck. So being able to do that, playing on top of guys, defensive zone play, making the best play, playing at the right speed, positionless hockey, using the width of the ice. This is a long game. All of these pillars, again, a great post here if you guys want to read up on it. But what do you think, Justin? Does it come down to some of these pillars? Do you see these things being in place in what the Montreal Canadiens have been able to accomplish in this 3-game winning streak?
I mean, so far so good. It's obviously a small sample size, but like it's night and day from what we saw from the Habs earlier in the season. Like, right, they look like a real hockey team right now. Like they look like have structure, and they have like it's ironic because he says he doesn't like the structures and the systems, but they look like they're a structured hockey team, and they're actually creating chances and playing well. So I mean, whatever he's doing, it's working so far. Something I'll say about St. Louis, which is good, is like he's trying new kind of drills in practice. He's trying stuff that maybe he liked to practice as a player that he thought was helpful. Something that maybe a coach who didn't necessarily play at the highest level would do. So it's those things can always be good. Like he's closer to like he's younger than a coach would be. Like he's closer to being retired than an older coach would be. So he's like a new age coach and maybe has more kind of new ideas in coaching regards. So, I mean, yeah, it's obviously a small sample size, so I don't want to say that he's the Messiah, like he's the savior, he's the Messiah, and he's going to save everything. But so far, so good.
We're all about delusion here at the No Respect Podcast, to be really honest. So
it's founded on delusion.
Actually, well, guys, I think that about does it for this video. We went into depth with his 3-game winning streak, Marty St. Louis, how he's done so far. Of course, the sample size is short and small, I should say, but it's refreshing as a Habs fan to be watching the Montreal Canadiens. It's literally night and day. Like you said, the cohesiveness of the team is back, and that's the most important thing. But let us know what you guys think. How has Marty done so far? Is it all on Marty? Is it just the fresh start, the mental reset of the Montreal Canadiens that has kind of allowed this to be? Are we going overboard here and kind of just overreacting to a couple of wins? Probably. And lastly, is the rebuild actually necessary? We don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the No Respect Podcast. Once again, Justin, Alex, Mackie. Again, if you guys like Habs content, you guys have come to the right place. Liking, subscribing, you want to join our Discord, all of the links below. Clicking those buttons, that'd be fantastic. But if you don't want to do it, we don't blame you. On that note, the Habs, there's some life. And it's beautiful. All right. Have a great week, and it better be as good as Cole Caufield's week. So we'll see you soon.